And we put an electrical charge on the arbor.
Okay.
But it's isolated from the rest of the saw.
Okay.
You were asking how it was isolated.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, there's some insulator around the arbor.
Okay.
Okay, it's time to start. Okay, it's officially 2 o'clock. Time for the last demo. Last demo of the show. So you laggards that have been hanging out and not been able to make it, welcome. Stop is the world's safest table saw by a long stretch for 2 primary reasons. One of which, as most people know, if you touch the blade stops, the blade removes itself from the table. The second of which is dust. We collect 99% of generated dust on a cabinet saw. Nobody else collects 99% of dust, even comes close to collecting it. Dust is a carcinogen. We collect it before it gets up into the air. Most people want to know more about the blade, though. So today I'll talk about the blade system, talk about a little bit about how the dust collection works, and then we'll have ourselves a demo. You can ask all kinds of questions. So the way this works is, you're familiar with a touch lamp where you touch it and the light turns on, light turns off? It's because it's detecting variations in the voltage of electricity. So what we do is we isolate the blade inside the saw on its arbor that holds it, and we run 3 volts of electricity through that. We have the magic of the device is this cartridge, and this cartridge is monitoring this blade at all times, and it sits about a nickel's distance from it, down inside the saw. And it sees the blade, it knows the blade's there, and it knows the charge is there, and it recognizes the wavelength of that constant charge. Now wood doesn't vary that wavelength in any meaningful way because it doesn't really have the capacitance that your human body does. But when the human body touches that blade right there, the cartridge detects the difference. And so the cartridge, right in here, there's a filament that's a little difficult to see, but it's holding back a spring that's got about 150 pounds of pressure in it. Okay, and so it's holding back the spring, and that filament basically is vaporized by what actually is a high voltage current that goes through it on detection. And when that's released, the spring releases the aluminum brake into the saw blade. As you see here, it digs in there, the teeth dig in, and you stop this from about 3,500 RPMs, 100 miles an hour-ish, to nothing in less than 5 milliseconds from detection. So that's about 1.5 inches it takes it to stop. So one of the things is that's a lot of energy, right? That thing's spinning pretty fast. There's a lot of angular momentum. So if we didn't do anything with that and just stopped it, it would probably ruin our saw. So what we had to do was we had to dissipate that angular momentum and use it. So what we did is used it to our advantage. Our arbor that holds the blade is on a hinge, and it releases from the pressure of the angular momentum and drops the blade immediately below the height of the table. And that all happens from detection to completely out of sight in less than 5 milliseconds. So a couple people say, I want to take a picture of it releasing. You won't. You try, but you won't. You'll get a picture of it there, and you get a picture of it not there. If you get a picture of it in between, I'll give you a prize of some sort. It's like a challenge.
Got the hot dog.
Yeah, you get the hot dog. It's been handled a little. It's good washing, maybe.
Yeah, it smells a little bit after a couple days.
After a couple days. Yeah, it'd be a little rank. Talk a little bit about blade guards. How many of you actually have ever seen a shop that actually had the blade guard on their table saw? Anybody? Maybe before you got there or after you left? It was like, you know, so a lot of people, when they first get their table saw, they remove the blade guard because they don't like the way it looks or we don't like dealing with it. They put it up on a shelf and it's up there collecting dust. And one of the things that you say, put that back on, well, it's going to take 30 minutes for them to put it back on. We've designed this so you put it on there and you lock it down and you're done. It's easy. There's no excuse for them not to be running their blade guard. Saw stop is not an excuse for them not to run their blade guard. There's still flying debris when you're cutting material. It's still a good idea to run a blade guard. Some materials require people to run a riving knife, and so we do supply a riving knife with the saw, and it tilts just like the blade guard. It tilts with the blade up to 45 degrees, and so that keeps the wood from pinching behind the saw blade and helps prevent kickback. So you don't have, again, that wood shoving back at you as the wood pinches behind the blade. So that helps prevent that. So that's easy, and we think that means safety for them because they're more likely to do it. The safety system, people ask us, well, what's the failure rate of our safety system? It doesn't fail, and the reason why is because the computer system on the front of the saw verifies whether or not the saw is in proper working order. It verifies that the cartridge is fully operational and will detect properly. So if we turn it on, Brian, can you help me a second? Can you turn that yellow switch on there?
Yep.
Do we have a green light and a red flashing light?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that red flashing light means that it's checking the cartridge, it's checking that the cartridge sees the blade, it's checking that everything's in good working order. What are we doing now? So we got a solid green. So if it finds any variation like that, does it change?
Yeah, it's fine.
Because I'm touching it and it doesn't like that. If I tried to turn it on right now, it would not turn on. Now there's a couple different failure codes, and we have a little cheat sheet on the side right here that tells you what exactly is causing that failure. Again, one of the things we do when we do this demo is we run the blade a little higher. I always make sure I bring this up at a safety conference because everybody's like, well, you shouldn't really be doing that. But we usually run it about the height of the wood you're cutting, but I want everybody to really see. So we'll raise it up nice and high, and we'll run it without the guard. We haven't had any issues with hot dog shrapnel yet, hitting anybody in the crowd. So I'll go ahead and spin it around so everybody can see. Oh, watch your bag. Whose bag is that? Oh. So again, some sort of prize for whoever gets this photograph of this saw blade halfway down. Because I'd like to see that. Okay. So you guys, what do you think? Should I go this normal speed or should I go really fast?
Really fast.
Is it? Is that the day? Is it really fast again?
Anybody ever say normal speed?
You know, I usually don't ask.
Okay.
But you guys seem so considerate. You got the chair going?
Weenie in the saw.
Weenie in the saw. I get support everywhere. You guys ready? All right. So you're in the shop, you're cutting away. Wow. That was really fast. I don't see anybody ever cutting wood that fast. Okay, it detected it, it dropped it below. That's a borderline Band-Aid because I was falling into the saw. It might be, I don't know. What do you think? Is that Band-Aid maybe a little past that high speed? If you go into a saw at that high speed, you will lose every part of your body that you put through it. Your whole hand you will lose at that speed. In this case, 5 minutes, a $69 cartridge and a blade, and you are back in full operation, and maybe your employee's a little more humbled about their experience, and they got a little souvenir of the spent cartridge they can put up on their wall. That's saw stop. Questions? Anything? Questions? You can come on up and see the hot dog. The hot dog's being auctioned off. We missed the silent auction.
How about MSRP?
This saw is $15.99. They range up to $5,000. The industrial applications are usually between 4 or 5. We use this one here because it's mobile, and we're really way too weak to bring in a 750-pound saw.
Can we see the saw, the whole thing?
Yeah, absolutely. You want to see underneath there?
Yeah. Pretty cool. Like take off the.
Yeah, no problem. I'm just gonna unplug it. Safety first, you know.
I kept
Yeah. So, can you see down in there? You can feel free to come right up to it. So you can see right there how the brake pawl has engaged the blade.
Oh, I see right there.
See that? And you can see this arbor right here is usually perpendicular to the surface, and it's actually angled down right now.
Is it hard to reset that?
No, it's super simple to reset. In fact, what you do first when you're going to switch it out is, of course, remove that, but is you want to wind it down, and the reason you're winding it down is that this is how you reset it. You know, you're going to hear a click.
Oh, I see it.
Wait for it.
Yeah.
Hear that? Now it's reset. That's it. And then you raise it back up, and you go ahead and remove the blade like you would any blade. And there's a red pin. You see that red pin down there?
Oh, that's cool. Yeah.
You remove that red pin, and that's how you remove the cartridge. That's what releases the cartridge. And the cartridge actually isn't even active unless that red pin is locked and in place. So, see, and there's no torquing on the pin. It was easy to remove.
Yeah. Very cool.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Thank you.